All right, y'all, you guys know the deal. We got a turbo giveaway going on. I'm ready to see you guys have some boost, have some horsepower, and poke your eyes out. Go to lsnasty.com. It's going to be like the first link in the description below. I got a new shirt up there, and all the merchandise that is in the past collections tab is double entry right now. Yes, double entry. So normally one entry, it gets you two. All you got to do to get entered is go to lsnasty.com, pick up some merch, and yeah, we're going to give away this badass TDI turbo. It is a 8596, I believe. And this is the first of its kind. So the TDI turbos are absolutely badass. This thing's an absolute unit. Comes with a V-banded cold side, so just slap a guy right on there. T6 flange. I mean, this thing right here, if you got really anything that has an engine you could slap a turbo on, this thing will be very useful for you to have some fun. Guys, there's Shannon.
Stranger I've already been.
Shannon, shameless plug to the YouTube channel.
Shameless plug?
Yeah, what's it called?
Yeah, Bloodbath Racing. Check it out.
He only comes around the shop when he needs something. Like
I basically just come to bum parts or plug my channel.
He needed to drop off parts. He needed to drop off parts, so Shannon's here today. So we're graced with his small block Ford presence. But today, what we're talking about is the Colorado. We got the turbo kit all done. I don't think you guys have seen the wastegates on there yet. Phil did an outstanding job. Whereas Phil's a little butthurt. Is Phil butthurt today? Yes or no?
No. Like today or now?
Right now.
I don't speak. You don't speak?
He said he pleads the fifth.
Pleads the fifth. All right. Phil did an outstanding job on the turbo kit. My side here, a little bit rough on the welds. Like, look at the difference in just like this. Right? That's me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Phil. Much nicer. So Phil's actually
He's got some good coloration in there. Look at that.
Yeah, Phil like dead ass Phil's very good at doing turbo kits. I like to bother him and yell at him and just harass Phil, but that's kind of how Ebony and Ivory Fabrication works. I think we're kind of like a Paul Sr., Paul Jr. type vibe. I'd definitely be Paul Sr. and Phil would be Paul Jr. So, I mean, I'll throw the chair or whatever it takes.
If you don't throw a chair at Phil now?
Tomorrow morning, that's what he gets. I'm going to have to get like a foam chair so I don't injure him.
You need to go on Instagram Live and just whack him with a chair. Straight like WWE wrestling.
So we got the, I welded the flange out. Shout out to Donnie at Streetcar Fabrication. I mentioned a couple times, this T6 flange right here is literally worth its weight in gold in any turbo application. It's very easy. You don't have to worry about merging. You just run your 3-inch down there. It's got a counter bore that you can like set the pipe in. I cut it in a little bit oval fashion, so it didn't quite go in there all that well. But it still, like, it works great. It's absolutely awesome. Very, very useful piece. Yeah, so we got that on there. The whole hot side's done. Phil mounted our dual 44mm wastegates. They're just some VS Racing wastegates, nothing crazy. Don't really have an issue with the VS Racing wastegates as long as you take them apart before you run them. Sometimes like the diaphragm gets folded over and they'll have a leak, so you just need to go through them and just make sure they're good. If you neglect them, they'll really fall apart on you. So the VS Racing stuff, like I've said it before, like they're all right. If I'm going to run like a big single, I'm not going to run a VS Racing. I'm going to run like a JGS or a Tile or something better. But on this stuff right here, especially, I don't plan on turning this thing up unless the wastegate gets stuck or something, knock on wood. But this should do for now. If I have to upgrade, we can always upgrade. So Phil got these on there. I wouldn't say it's like, I don't know what's called like priority wastegates where like the flow is directly into them, but they're both in pretty good spots. This one right here is going right off of the elbow, and this one right here is right by the flange. They're both in a bend, so they're going to get good airflow. So I think that they should be good. They should have some good flow and really be able to regulate boost. Being that we're going to run it on no prep, we want to make sure that we can bleed off a lot of power, and that's why I went with duals instead of just running like one single 60. So we got the hot side all wrapped up. I'm waiting on my CID intake. It's coming from Brian Tooley Racing, and then we can build the cold side, and we'll be good to go. We'll be ready to take this thing to Bob at Coker Chassis. If you guys are unfamiliar with what we got going on, Bob's going to be doing a back half on this thing. It's going to stay all steel, all glass. It's going to have, factory interior. It's going to have 2 Kirky seats in it, so it's not going to have a factory seat, but we'll have a dash in there. Stock front suspension. It's going to have frame rail all the way back to the 4-link, which is really about as far as you can go on this truck. The frame is so wide. I don't know if you can see down here in this area how the frame, it runs up here and then it gets real wide. It's almost like a rectangle, and it runs all the way to the back of the truck like that. So in order to fit like any decent size wheel on there, you essentially just have to cut the frame. Like these skinny ass tires that are on there right now, there's not much room. Like you can't fit a 10-inch wide rim in there. So I got some 12-inch wide wheels. I got some 14-inch wide wheels for this truck, so I'll be able to go back and forth between the two. If I ever do decide to run on like a very good radial track, I can put like the wheels off the Salty Chicken, the Alphas on here. But you're gonna have to cut the frame, and whether we reattach it after the wheel wells, I'm up in the air. I'm not really sure, but it's definitely run frame to the 4-link. That's pretty much the plan. I got a set of mensers for it. I got a quarter max anti-roll bar. I got a nice rear end housing for it. It's gonna be same style rear end as the Salty Chicken and as the Black Sheep. It's got a chromoly housing, strange aluminum bolt through third member, 40 spline gun drilled axles. What else? Strange brakes. And then I think that's pretty much it. So Bob is actually going to be doing the fabrication and assembly of the rear end. So right now I just got a bare housing. I got some Quarter Max Pro Extreme 4-link brackets that he's going to be putting on there. I got a Pro Extreme anti-roll bar, which got the splined end, which is very nice. And Bob's going to be installing all that in the back of the truck. So what I'm doing now is, obviously I'm waiting for the intake to come, and I can't really do any other fabrication to it. Just kind of have to chill. I'm going through and I'm getting rid of what I don't need, and I'm just going to clean the truck up. I'm not going to bring it to Bob like covered in rubber from the burnout stuff. At some point I have to take it out and wash it, because I do like Bob.
That's going to be rough.
I'm not
washing all that rubber.
Yeah, it's like
it's literally everywhere.
Going into a soggy wet burnout pit is the most. I mean, there's rubber. Look it up here. I mean, it's literally everywhere.
That's going to be such a pain. Look, it's literally everywhere, all over the firewall.
It's all over the firewall. It's all over the roof. It's all over the bed. There's just shit everywhere.
Speckled like down the whole truck.
So I don't want to bring Bob a bunch of bullshit, so I'm going to take off as much stuff as I can and get it like kind of as prepped as possible. I think myself and Matt are going to run up to Coker Chassis when we drop it off and go over the game plan with Bob. Bob builds a bunch of badass stuff. He just built this super sick full-size truck, which is absolutely insane. It's LS single turbo. I'll put some pictures up on the screen if I can get them. But Bob is, I mean, he's doing some outstanding work, and he's got like this Bob Ross vibe going on, so he's just painting his picture all over cars. You like that little like pun? I mean, his name's Bob Ross. You know, I thought it was pretty good. So I think we're in good hands with Bob, but we're going to go over some things that, like, as far as rules wise, I want this thing to fit as many rules as possible. Obviously, keeping all steel, all glass, there's a turbo restriction, so I wouldn't fit in that. But the plan is I want to be able to run no preps with it. I want to be able to run at some of these like smaller Friday night shootouts, like Red Spring, 710. Run the 252 list out in Kinston. What else? I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
any
stock
like
front
28
suspension.
races.
Yeah, anything like 28-inch shootouts, stock block races. I really want this to kind of fill the void of like a mix between the Bad Apple and the Boosted Rooster. You know, the Boosted Rooster we took everywhere and we just ran, but it wasn't super competitive. The Bad Apple is a little bit more competitive, but we didn't really run it at too many places. So this is going to have characteristics from both that we can really go out there and beat on. It's going to have a pretty stout motor, I'd say, for a 5.3. That we're hopefully not going to have to run turned up to go quick, and we can still be competitive. So in here I was just throwing out a bunch of stuff, some stuff I got to get out here. I got a Jodar, or whatever they call it, the blow-off valve. I think it's what, yeah, Jodar Performance Products. This is the one I ran on the Pro Charger setup, which I actually ended up taking off. I didn't even run it, really. I ran it just open. I got some bolts in there for the headers. I got a starter in here.
You know, I'm disappointed you're going away from the bench seat.
We are going away from the bench seat. Yeah, it is. Maybe we should do a bench Kirky.
I was going to say, what if you did a bench Kirky and then just had the harness coming through the bench? That would be hilarious, honestly. That
would be something different. God, there's a hoodie back here, too. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. I took the Holley HP out. I'm actually getting rid of that. And I'm going to be going to a Holley Dominator. So we're going to put all this stuff back, and you won't even know. We're not going to run this there. I got some Motion Raceworks products that I'm going to be running. So I'm going to run the ECU on the roll bar mount, just like we run in the Salty Chicken with the little cable saver mount. And sorry, like in the Black Sheep and the Salty Chicken. I like having the ECU roll bar mounted. I think it's pretty clean, and it's accessible if you ever need to get to it. Generally, in something like this, you don't have someone crawling in and out of the car, so it's not to worry. I think I might run a Holley Smart Wire kit, or a Race Pack Smart Wire kit, because I have it available. I'm not quite sure yet. That switch panel there is not going to make the trip.
No,
it's the Jag switch panel did great for
you talk so much good stuff about it.
It's not going to make the trip. No, unfortunately not. It did a great job for what it needed to do, and I appreciate Jegs for making such an affordable switch panel, but we're going to step it up to a roll bar mounted switch panel.
But it has so much character. Would you just look at it?
It does. It gives you like a Top Gun vibe with the top of the switch.
Yeah,
cover.
I was gonna say you're basically, it's like a fighter jet at this point.
Yeah, you flip it up and you're like missile armed, and then like you're ready to roll. We're gonna ditch the steering column, and we're gonna put like a race steering column in there with a removable wheel. Anything that I feel that has a funny car hoop and an X in the door, it makes it a lot easier to get in and out of if you can take the wheel off of, even though half the times I don't, but it's just good to have. Back here to the bed, we are going to ditch a lot of things. We're going to ditch the breathers here. I'm probably going to save these and put them on the Mustang I bought. We're going to ditch the radiator because we're not running any water in the block. We're going to ditch the big 20 gallon? Is that 20 gallon? Like,
it's like a 15 or 20. That's massive.
It's pretty big. We don't need to run all that fuel. And that thing cost me like $200 or something, so we're going to ditch that, and then we'll have a custom built fuel cell for what we need back here. Also going to get rid of the fuel pump. So when I bring this truck up to Bob at Coker Chassis, it's literally going to be turbo kit, mock-up block with mock-up heads. It'll have the intake on there so you can get a good vibe of what we're doing. And then it is going to be pretty much bare everything else. I'm going to take the dash out and then just put it in with a couple bolts, so it's going to be easy for Bob to get out. And I'm just trying to make it as simple as possible so you don't have like a lot of like shit. Like, I don't need to bring it to him with a fuel cell that I'm not going to run in there. I don't need to have a radiator that I'm not going to run in there. And I'm just trying to streamline it so it's like as strictly business as possible. And I like to do this with like everyone I'm working with. If I'm taking the car somewhere to get a turbo kit done, or if I'm doing something, I try to make it where it's as like, here's what you need. I got no other bullshit. So there's as little questions.
You're not the guy that says, oh, it only needs a tune.
Yeah,
and then it needs 10 other things before you even begin to, put it on the dyno and tune it.
I only say that when Matt comes down here because I like to give Matt a hard time. But
Matt expects it by now, though.
Matt knows. He's learned. So what I'm doing, by the time I get done with this, when it's ready to go to see Bob up at Coker Chassis, it will be one, clean. I mean, it's just dirty and gross, so I'm going to wash it in and out so it's not making a mess of a shop. Two, there'll be nothing in it. I'm probably going to take this seat out and have a Kirky seat in there. And we'll talk to Bob about, I mean, really, we're going to have to wait until he gets a lot of the cage structure done and then sit in there and get a good seating position. But the firewall and the pedals and everything will stay because they're going to stay the same. Might have him make a new shifter bracket or shifter mount depending on what everything happens and where everything goes. It's not bad now, but it's just ugly as sin. So, yeah. But here's some other stuff that is not going to make the trip. So first off, what's not making the trip is this intake. You guys know we're switching over to the CID intake. This is a really good intake for the price. It's Texas Speed 4500, like Super Victor style. Comes with fuel rails. Comes with fuel rail brackets that are like have adjustable height on them. Very nice piece. Unfortunately, we're going over to an LS7 head, so anything with an LS1 or Cathedral Port style head, this intake will work for. I am thinking about putting the blower setup on the Mustang, and this intake would work with this. I mean, pretty much this entire setup right here, like top to bottom, will work with this charge pipe. So I'm not getting rid of anything. I can really stick this guy right back on the Mustang, and that'll go right up to the blower because the blower goes off the front of the motor. So the distance will not change as long as I can keep the intake the same.
Squidbilly.
Squidbilly's sold.
So which Mustang are we talking about?
I got a new Mustang that I haven't revealed yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
so that, you're already creating a build for that.
I'm just thinking because I got a bunch of parts laying around. So that's like
that's what I thought that's what you were talking about, but I didn't know if you were talking about that yet.
It's a potential thought. Nothing's like in concrete.
That's why I was like, damn, he's already talking about that?
Yeah, I'm trying not to build all year. That's the plan. But if I get something up and running, I could build on the side. What also is not making the trip are my awesome headers. So it's tough to see them go, but I'm going to say something right now that I don't know if I'll regret or not. But if you have a Chevy Colorado with an LS in it and you would like zoomies, these will be for sale. Send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll let Wes name the price. I probably have at least $1,000, $1,000 to $1,500 in materials. No, I'd probably say $1,000.
I'm going to buy a Colorado now and just leave it all motor and just run zoomies.
I will sell these. If you have a Colorado that goes off the current performance motor mounts, which is I think like the only thing out there, these will work on any factory style casting head. So
you got to send us a video of you using them, though.
I'd love to see the life of these continue. They're solid. I mean, it's really good material. None of the welds broke, and I did like a crazy burnout. So I mean, I don't know what more you want off of them. It's cut on this side to go around the steering column. This side here is cut as well, but bolts up fine.
All stock steering column with.
Stock steering
What are
column.
the motor mounts?
Current performance motor mounts. I think they're just like their standard swap mount. Yeah, if you guys want them, let me know, and whether you pick them up or I ship them to you. They can be a little tough to ship because they're kind of like.
Yeah, I probably would not recommend shipping those.
But these won't obviously fit a Mustang. They'll only fit a Colorado. So if you guys are interested, let me know. I'm not going to charge you the 9 months of labor. That's consider that on the house. But in materials, like if I could get $1,000 for them, I mean, I'd be pretty. I mean, you got to think a set of custom headers, a set of Cook's headers, like $1,600. A set of John Doc Zoomies, $1,000. I mean, Cook's, John Doc.
We'll charge you $9.95 if you want them signed.
Yeah, that took me a lot to say. Do you think $1,000 is fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Ben, do you think $1,000 for a set of custom Zoomies is fair?
That's cheap.
Cheap? What I'd say like $3,000 for a full blown set of like race Zoomies that are not just like the ones that come straight out.
You might as well go ahead and set aside $5,000.
$5,000. You guys can save $4,000 today.
I know there's.
God, am I selling myself short? Should I ship it up? $1,500. We're going higher.
I was gonna say I've heard of some places charging $6,000 up north for Zoomies.
Yeah, I mean
I'm not gonna say any shop names, but they're not cheap.
No, they're not cheap, and they sell the Zoomies that like Pro Mods run that literally come out with a 45, go straight, and then 45 up. That's not what we're talking about. These are like custom around like a full like real deal car. So unfortunately, I don't have any use for these anymore. If I had the opportunity to do it again, I definitely would because I had fun building them. It was a little stressful at some points. And I wanted to quit, but
you literally
easy, everyone would do it.
You could get just a stock Colorado and put a 5.3 in it and run these.
Yes,
that'd be badass. Honestly,
that's it.
With a cam, I mean.
And you could drive around like you go to Cookout, you got the baddest damn tutored up truck there is.
You don't even need anything else, and you could still 4L60. It'd be fine.
That's pretty much what we got going on today. I'm hoping that tomorrow the intake comes in so I can keep rocking and rolling on that. I got some other stuff going on. The Caprice is done. If you guys haven't checked out the video on the Caprice, you need to check that out. I'll put that link. It'll be the second link in the description below. Check that out. Going to pick up Squidbilly and check out my new car on Wednesday. What else? Anything else?
I don't know. Got a lot going on.
Got a lot of stuff going on, and we're moving and grooving. Oh, we're planning to go racing with Boomhauer. That's the Silver Mustang. We're planning to go racing this Saturday at Union City if the weather holds out, and they got a little no prep going on there, so we should be good to go. Other than that, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. We got that giveaway going on, so don't forget to get your entries for that turbo. And I'm excited to get the Colorado done, moving and grooving. I'm excited to get it with Bob. Hopefully I can get up there and film with Bob a little bit because I really enjoy. Bob does some badass work. I enjoy filming there, and it's just a really good time up there. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like always, comment, like, subscribe. I appreciate you guys, all your support.
Happy birthday to you.
When you guys see this video, it actually will be my birthday. God, you're zoomed in. I could tell.
If you understand, you know.